It's like that movie Groundhog Day, you know. Here comes Labor, here comes the ABC, totally forgetting that some terrorists came with the last lot of asylum seekers that they demanded we let in. Memory wipe. As I said on Monday, the Albanese government has quietly handed out more than 2,000 visas to Palestinians since the October 7th slaughter of 1,200 Jews by Hamas terrorists. More than 2,000 visas, travel visas, temporary protection ones, most to Palestinians in Gaza, which has been run for nearly 2 decades by Hamas, an Islamist terrorist group that's banned here. Now, not surprisingly, the opposition is asking the right questions. I mean, here we are giving visas to people who've lived in a terrorist regime and giving them only after just a day, sometimes only a few hours, to check them out.
We don't know about the authenticity of the travel documents. We don't know whether these people are Hamas sympathisers. And I think the government needs to tread very cautiously here. But
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese seems shocked by this meanness in asking these questions.
He's just wrong. And you know what he does every day, you see it. It's just fear campaigns every day that don't have a basis in what is going on.
No basis? And the ABC, same deal, just like it did with the last Labor government. This is ABC radio host Patricia Karvelis this morning, protesting to Liberal frontbencher James Paterson as if it's so mean to quibble over throwing visas at Palestinians from territories run by Islamic terrorists.
But there is no evidence that any of them are dangerous, is there? But are you talking about people being active, actual potential terrorists in this country, or their political ideology? But that would be a new benchmark, wouldn't it, James Paterson, that we are interrogating people's political views?
Now, even if we hadn't gone through all this farce before and had Australians actually die, these attacks on the Liberals would seem willfully stupid. But we have gone through this before. And I wonder, has the Albanese government really forgotten? It shouldn't have. I mean, after all, Albanese was actually a minister under Labor Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, his big mate, when Rudd let in the first of the 50,000 illegal boat people to sail here under Labor, and took in thousands more so-called refugees as well. And Rudd went nuts back then when one Liberal MP, Wilson Tuckey, also dared to say, but these boats, what about the security risk from the people in them? Tuckey said, if you wanted to get into Australia and you have bad intentions, what do? You insert yourself in a crowd of 100, for which there is a great sympathy for the other 99. Well, Rudd hit the roof, said these were deeply divisive, disgusting remarks, and Tuckey should be thrown out of the Liberal Party. And the ABC whacked Tuckey as well. Except Tuckey turned out to be right. The vast majority of refugees we bring in, of course, they are not terrorists. But, bringing in people from poor, war-torn and tribal countries can go wrong. And didn't we find that out in the worst way? Because some refugees we took in, some as children, did indeed become terrorists or have terrorist links. They include Man Monis, an Iranian refugee who staged the deadly Lint cafe siege in 2014. There was Numan Haider, an Afghan refugee and Islamic State recruit who stabbed 2 police, and Fahad Jabbar, an Iranian refugee who killed police accountant Curtis Cheng while shouting, Allah is the greatest. And Muhammad Ali Barialai, an Afghan refugee who became a recruiter and fighter for the Islamic State. And Somali-born refugee Yaqub Khaira, who murdered a worker in Melbourne, held a woman hostage and shot 3 police, saying, this is for the Islamic State. This is for Al-Qaeda. And I could list more. Other refugees from the Middle East who also joined Islamist terrorist groups or bikie gangs. How could Albanese or the ABC forget this recent history and now risk repeating it? I mean, Patricia Karvelis today. Oh, yeah, but can't we trust the security agencies, to protect us? Labor, all our people are doing security checks. Oh, don't worry. And again, I say, check that recent past. The former head of ASIO, top security agency, former top army man himself, top diplomat, he was also saying, how could we be so suspicious of poor refugees.
I have absolutely no evidence to suggest there's a connection between refugees and terrorism.
After I pointed out back then, well, look, actually, some refugees had indeed turned to Islamist terrorism. He said, oh, no. What he actually meant, the risk factor wasn't that they were refugees, it was that they followed an extreme version of Islam. But then he realised, oh, that's not a very woke thing to say, so he changed his line again. Well, there wasn't really a link even to Islam. I don't buy the notion, he said, that the issue of Islamic extremism is in some way fostered or supported by the Muslim religion. In fact, I think it's blasphemous to the extent that I can comment on someone else's religion. I mean, wow, blasphemy. And then this former ASIO boss really put his foot in it, or actually put his finger on the problem that he was dancing around.
There are more than 500,000 Australian Muslims. 1/10 of 1% are the subject of security interest.
Let me do the maths. There are now more than 800,000 Muslims here. 1/10 of 1% of 800,000 works out to 800. 800 who could be the subject of security interest at that ratio that ASIO boss gave 6 years ago. 800 potential terrorists here. That actually strikes me as a lot. So can we just stop this phony outrage today? I mean, absolutely. Most refugees from war-torn Muslim countries are not a security risk. Absolutely. Let us not demonise the innocent. But equally, let us not pretend there's no risk, or that we can simply trust our security agencies to spot it and stop it. So yes, I would like the government to explain exactly who it's bringing in from Gaza, and how it can be so sure, so quickly, they're no danger at all. Don't give us more moral lectures, Prime Minister. Just give us the answers.